It's time for the three most violent letters in combat sports, the UFC. The cage is about to get us locked in, so fighters, ready. And the fights that the UFC should be making, not just why, but how. Someone needs to get data to see this, but still we want to know though, what's Hunter's number? Now September is all about girls want girls, and we're fixing the issues in the women's side of the UFC that will get everyone more hyped to watch them. This week, we're giving you the first part of an overall plan they should execute for the women's side of the UFC with the title and gatekeeper fights that Hunter should make, but still hasn't given us his number. So, the gatekeeper fight, we would have Juliana Peña, the number 1 ranked bantamweight, versus Raquel Pennington, to the 2nd ranked bantamweight. For the gatekeeper to stop contenders moving up in the women's bantamweight division rankings. Now, these women have fought each other, and both of these women are former bantamweight champions. They fought just last year, ending in a split decision. Both of these fighters have been in the division and stayed at the top even without the gold. So let's have them face off again to decide who's the gatekeeper of the women's bantamweight division, so that any up-and-comer has to face the winner of this fight first. And if they lose, then one of these girls gets another crack at the title. And the title fight to make, Tatiana Suarez, the 2nd ranked strawweight, versus Dern, ranked number 5 in the strawweight division. And this would be the title fight for the vacant women's strawweight title, because Zhang Weili is moving up, obviously, and vacated. Now, you've got Dern, who stayed relevant and at the top of the rankings consistently, plus Suarez, who in her second last fight lost by unanimous decision to the champ, who's now moved up to fight Shevchenko. And this leaves a void in the women's strawweight division. So let's get these two contenders for the vacant title, because Dern brings the eyes for the looks and is in the top 5. Plus, Suarez has been dominant largely and finally got back into action just this past weekend. Hunter, booking. I don't do if, buts, and maybes. Wise words, but right now we do exactly that and look at a period of UFC history and ponder the question, what if? And of course, September's theme has been bloody bones. Jon Jones' violent, chaotic, and drama-filled run from winning the title back in early 2011 at UFC 128. Through multiple incidents and getting stripped of his light heavyweight belt until he regained the championship back for a second time at the end of 2018 at UFC 232, all while remaining undefeated inside of the octagon. And to wrap up this chapter of if, buts, and maybes, we have to ask the question of what if. And this week's what if Bones was natty? Back in July of 2017, Jon Jones defeated DC in their rematch by 3rd round KO to reclaim his strip light heavyweight title. And then USADA nailed him for steroids, overturning the result to a no contest. What was the impact? Jon Jones stripped of the title again, and with no fight, the belt was returned to Cormier. Now, prior to the championship being put back on DC, Jones had called out Brock Lesnar for a heavyweight move. And I mean, both of them in steroids. If you know, you know. And following one more fight, DC then took this idea and went up to heavyweight to become the 2nd ever to hold 2 titles at the same time. Think about the glory that could have awaited Jon had he been natty. Double champ against Stipe, which obviously we saw how that fight went more recently. Then a super fight against Brock. His claim to the GOAT title would be undeniable. Even so, Bloody Bones is still undefeated and has the most title fight wins with a record 16 championship wins. In comparison to another GOAT, Khabib has a total of 13 fights in the UFC as a whole, and Jones has more title fights alone. If Jones was natty in 2017, DC might have never been champ, and Jones could have walked straight into double champ status plus a Lesnar super fight.